Welcome to the Explainer. All right, today we're jumping into a really dense and honestly fascinating text. It's all about transforming society, but not in the ways you'd expect. Not through normal politics or economics. This is about using a pretty unique and powerful spiritual framework.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First up, we'll get a handle on the huge ambition behind this whole philosophy. Then, we'll dig into the pretty wild worldview that makes it all possible. After that, we get to meet these mysterious agents of change they call Egregori. And finally, we'll see how it all clicks together in something they call sociological alchemy.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. What's the point of all this? What is the ultimate goal here? What's the grand plan?
So this source text just drops this incredibly powerful line right at the start. The mission here isn't just about, sitting around and understanding cosmic principles. No, it's about actively channeling them. It's about becoming like a broadcast antenna, beaming that cosmic order right out into the world.
And here's the key thing to grasp. This is not just about your own personal spiritual journey. Not at all. The goal is way bigger. It's about aligning everything. I'm talking individuals, social groups, our tech, even the planet itself, with this higher spiritual logic. It's about, total integration.
And you'll see this poetic image pop up again and again in the text. It's used to symbolize that exact synchronization with cosmic order. It's this beautiful way of representing a new path to transcendence, a state of total harmony, where spiritual unity is achieved across the board.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, how is any of this even possible? And that's a fair question. To get it, we really have to dig into the foundational belief that holds this entire philosophy up. Honestly, without this piece, none of the rest really clicks. How can you spiritually unify with, social media? Or an economic system? It sounds kind of out there, right? Well, the source puts forward a very specific worldview where that kind of deep connection isn't just possible, it's a fundamental part of reality.
And that worldview is called panpsychism. Basically, it completely erases that hard line we usually draw between, mind and matter. In this view, consciousness isn't just something humans or animals have. Nope, it's a fundamental property of the universe itself, just like gravity or mass. Everything, and I mean everything, has some form of consciousness.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. The way they treat consciousness here, it's not just some abstract idea. It's seen as this tangible, almost alchemical substance, something you can actually change, something you can work with, something that can even emit its own light. And this quote just illustrates the next step perfectly. The source talks about this psychic field. They call it the noosphere, and it's just filled with potential ideas and forms, almost like waves in an ocean. And they're just waiting for a conscious mind to come along, tap into them, observe them, and poof, bring them into our reality.
Okay, so we've got the mission, and we've got the worldview that makes it possible. So what's next? Well, let's look at the main tools. Or maybe it's better to call them the primary agents that are used to make this huge cosmic change happen.
The whole text really hinges on this one key concept. It's the thing that acts as a bridge between our own individual minds and the massive collective consciousness of our institutions.
So what is it? Think of it like the soul or the personality of an institution. It's a real, living consciousness, an egregor. And it's created by all the shared beliefs, the goals, the symbols, the culture of everyone involved. It's literally the spirit of the organization.
And get this, these aren't just fuzzy, passive ideas. The text is super clear that these egregoria have their own distinct characteristics. They embody the group's identity, they can actually develop their own autonomy over time, and they even influence how the outside world sees them. And what that means is they can either reinforce a really toxic culture, or they can be turned into incredibly powerful agents for positive change.
So how do you build one of these things? According to the source, an egregor gets created and becomes stronger when three key things work together in harmony. First, you need the formal structure, the company or organization itself. Then you need the symbols, the logos, the mission statements, the things that express its identity. And finally, you need the focused psychic energy, which they call luminescence, from everyone involved. All three have to be in sync.
Okay, so if institutions have these living souls, these egregori, how do we actually do anything with them? Let's get practical and see how all this theory gets turned into a real method for changing the world.
The text basically diagnoses a core problem of our time, this deep spiritual disconnect that's just been fueled by modern life. But the solution it offers is, well, it's pretty radical. It's not about throwing away our modern systems. No, it's about infusing them with spiritual vitality, literally bringing them to life.
And this whole process has a name, sociological alchemy. And that comparison is totally intentional. You know how ancient alchemists wanted to turn lead into gold? Well, this is the same idea, but for society. It's about spiritually transmuting all the toxic dross of our world into a golden age of prosperity and well-being.
And again, this isn't just some nice metaphor. It's laid out as a real, tangible process. Step 1, you identify the social dross. Think about the toxicity you see online or economic scarcity. Step 2, you apply what they call rectified living vitality, basically spiritual energy, using things like charged symbols and collective intention. And step 3, you achieve the sociological gold.
And the end goals here, they are incredibly ambitious. This isn't just about, making people feel a little better. It's about using this spiritual technology to completely re-engineer society. We're talking about solving some of the biggest problems we face, things like creating non-scarcity economies, universal basic income, guaranteeing human rights, fixing the environment, the whole shebang.
So this all leaves us with one last, pretty provocative thought to chew on. The source says we're co-evolving with our own creative designs. So if that's true, if our institutions, our social media, our technologies, if they aren't just tools, but are actually living extensions of our collective mind that we are literally evolving alongside, what does that mean? How does that completely change the way you and I should think about building our future?